Hi.
Hi. Yeah.
Oh, this is so precious. Okay.
Yeah. Perfect.
So
Okay.
fabulous.
Okay. So you said something before. Am I recording? I am recording.
Yes,
Okay.
this meeting is being recorded. Woo, pom poms. Okay.
Oh, you said something earlier and you said being poor is time consuming.
Yeah.
If you could just bring that in with school, like school and what that day looks like, or week, or month, or semester, however.
So a day in the life of a poor chick. All right. So wake up. Um, I'm staying at someone else's space. So put all my things away. All my things because this isn't home. You can't leave your own things out. You have to leave the space as if you're about to leave. Theoretically, you could be about to leave. You may come back that night and hear, you know what? I'm so sorry. You can't stay here no more. Thank you so much for having me. And then go be, I don't know what you're gonna do. But so put everything away. So your toothbrush doesn't stay in the bathroom. Your toothpaste don't stay in the bathroom. Your soap don't stay in the shower. You time. You have to take all your things out of this person's space and put it away. So you have to pack every day. You have to remember everything you need for the day. You don't have keys to someone else's home. They don't know you. They didn't give you no key. You MARTA is not the most efficient public transportation system. So rush hour is a 90-minute commute back to campus. Middle of the day, 2.5 hours. To pick up a book, to then take another 2.5, you ain't going to class. So you had better remember everything that you need. So if you have 3 classes that day, there are no lockers. You need all your textbooks, all your notebooks, all your pencils, whatever other stuff you need. Um, is it going to be cold? Do you need a jacket? You can't run to your room and get a jacket. It's a 2.5 hour commute back. So if it's 80 degrees in the morning and it's going to be 60 degrees at night, bring a jacket. You may look crazy, but just in case. You don't know if it's going to rain? Have an umbrella. Better safe than sorry. So you have everything. You packed all your things away. You have everything. You're carrying everything. I'm carrying everything. How quickly do I walk with everything? So I've gotten up early enough to pack, prepare, commute. So now I'm on campus. I probably could not time it so that if I have a 11 o'clock class that I get there 10:45, so I'm probably there at 9 o'clock. Where you gonna be for 2 hours? You sit in Lower Manly and wait for whatever. You go to class. Maybe you try to find somewhere to leave things because you feel weird. Everyone else has a book. Someone may have a backpack, but it's not full. Okay, with an umbrella you don't need, a jacket you don't need, 3 classes worth of information. You don't want to walk around with all of that. So where are you putting it? And will it be there when you get back? And if you put it in someone's room or someone's will they be, do you have access? Put it in the TV lounge of someone's dorm. Will the housekeeping not put it in lost and found? If you put it behind the front desk, will that front desk person still be there to make whatever? Or you find somewhere hidden, like maybe there were couches and you just kind of put it behind and nobody would see it to move it. And it's after the cleaning ladies have cleaned because you learn their schedules because they used to wake you up and go, ma'am, you can't sleep here. So you put the stuff in there. I thought that was is that your stuff in that TV? Can't be leaving your stuff inside the TV lounge. Now I left it alone because I thought it was you, but you can't chuck it in somewhere. And then you take your book and you blend in, right? You're hungry, but you blend in. Like, girl, I'm going to eat. Must be nice. And go back to Lower Manly and do whatever it is you're gonna do and see people you haven't seen and da 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 whatever and then you go back to your book and you get second class and da 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 because you try to make your schedule so that you only have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so at least 2 days you ain't got to worry about going to campus. And it's just easier to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday because the classes are shorter and da 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 and whatever else. And if you got to go to financial aid, there'll be a gap, and you go over there and you da 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 da, and you come over and ooh, chow. And then you do all of that, and then you go home. And everybody's like, girl, what you get ready to do? Get ready to do that. And you're like, I can't. I gotta go. You don't even say anything. You just go. And you hear all the giggles and laughs, and you go, man, must be nice. Now, I did have fun. I had a ball. I don't know why I had so much fun, but I had a ball. I was in Campus Crusade for Christ. And whatever people do or don't know about the organization, while I was there, it was just family. It was students who cared about each other. And we were just all united in the fact that we all practiced Christianity and everything was either God or the devil. So if the class was hard, that was the devil. And if you were doing well, that was the Lord. Like there was no gray. There was no gray. And we would sit around and solve the world's problems every Friday night. And we wondered why adults are so stupid to not think of what we thought of because, duh, it's really that simple. And oh, if I could do some time travel and just hear, because we were so sure that we had answers. And I don't remember none of them answers right now, but we could have solved the world if someone had just asked us. And every Friday night, we would go out to eat. And everybody would put in based on whatever they ate, they would put in. And I had no money to put in. And so the money would always, stuff would come up short because a number of us didn't have no money to put in. And then people who had more money would just put more in. And our biggest flex was that we always left a fat tip. Because there would be like 15 of us, 20 of us, or whatever. And they would just put all the tables together. We would just be there and hollering and making all this noise and laughing and eating and whatever. And then we would leave like this $20 or $30 to like 25% tip. And the waitress would just be like, oh my God. I mean, some people started crying and all this other stuff. We were just like, you did such a great job. Thank you for feeding us. Thank you. And my flex was that by senior year, I was able to put in more at the end because my finances were finally right. And I didn't have to spend money on transportation. And I didn't, I had my financial aid together for whatever reason, everything just clicked. And when the money came up short, I was like, oh, well, here's another $15 because, obviously someone didn't have it. And I could put in my little money. I also had Glee Club. And for my entire life, whatever has been wrong with my life, it's never wrong while I'm singing. So I was there under Dr. Norma Rabin, and all I wanted was for her to be satisfied with our singing. She was never satisfied with our singing, so we were never happy. But that's not the point. The point was the hope that one day she would actually say something good to us about the way we sounded. Now, we were actually singing our faces off, but that's not the point. She never told us that. And so we were just always striving for the impossible.
Mhm.
And I didn't have no pain. I didn't have no hunger. I didn't have no migraine from a seizure. There was nothing wrong with me while I was singing. And so, um, and sometimes I did find money. Sometimes I did. And we would go to IHOP and we would be like five to a cab and we would get the omelet and we would argue over which person got the omelet and which person got the pancakes. And you always wanted to pair with someone. I always wanted to pair with somebody who didn't like eggs because I wanted the omelet.
Okay.
So I'm like, we'll, I don't know what y'all doing. We good. And they would get the pancakes and I would get the eggs. And, or you found somebody who wanted to do half and half. And the waitress is sitting there looking at us like, poor broke pieces of, but again, we knew the tip, so people didn't hate us.
Mhm.
So, but we would be like five to a table and making all this racket and noise and laughing and all that other stuff. So um I wasn't walking around sad and depressed and lonely and isolated. I had an amazing experience at Spelman, but it was complicated and conflated with poverty. And I could have had a much better experience with just a little help. It's not a lot. It's not a lot.
So, with you saying, well, I have two things, but I'm going to say this one first. So, with you saying that, my challenge, and Kim will always, she always has to talk me down, is no matter what is done, it never quite feels like enough. Like, so the one thing about Thanksgiving, my thing is if you have registered, I have a very hard time telling people no, but I do have to plan because we don't have an infinite supply of money.
Right.
Um, but if you have registered, my thing is nobody leaves. And that was even from the first one where everybody got five $2 bills. You do not leave without something. So right now, what that generally looks like is we have alums, right? Handwritten cards. We put a $50 bill in there.
Oh, shucks.
When Kroger gives, which they have the last 2 years, prayerfully they give this year, you have a Kroger gift card. So it's not just today you can eat, you can
Right.
get something else. This year, there one of our sisters giving Chick-fil-A cards. So we're going to be able to add that to the little thing.
Yep.
And then we have toiletries available, like toilet
Yeah.
paper,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
toothbrushes, whatever. Like you can take any of that for free. And that's kind of like the floor.
Yeah.
You can leave, and the church has been adding food to that so
Yeah.
far. So that's the floor. Um, and every year I'm like, what does $50 do in 2025? Like what does it do? So, but then
It
I then other part, good.
it gives hope. in in the in the sacred text I read, it said the three greatest gifts are faith, hope, and love. And the greatest one is love. Second is hope. The second greatest gift is hope. And if love conquers the world, hope is right there behind it. And if you didn't have hope, you probably didn't get to love. So someone walked in hungry, depleted, with this mythological what everybody else is doing on Thanksgiving. Nobody is imagining looking at the relative that's sexually abusing your cousin or listening to elders have no idea what the hell they're talking about but still want to lecture you, or seeing people that you can't stand, or nasty food, or nobody's imagining that. They're imagining the Huxtables and all this, the great tasting food with family and love and laughter and spades games and all this other great and amazing stuff. And they're like, I'm just sitting here by myself. So as they have this mythology in their head, then someone actually puts things in their hands that doesn't have anything to do with today. If I want to go to Starbucks and get a cup of coffee, I got $50. Coffee is an appetite suppressant. If I want to go and buy coffee and a mug, I can. I got $50. And do you know what a 32-ounce mug of coffee would have done next to that bowl of cereal I had? I'd have been fine through the day if I had a big old mug of coffee to sip on. And maybe they wouldn't have been mad at me if I came in to get, I just want to refill my coffee cup. Or give my coffee cup to my girl who get ready to go to class. Fill this up for me. Put in 3 sugars and 5 creams. I'll see you in class. Like, come, what does $50 do? It beats a blank. It beats the lint that was in their pocket when they got there. What if they were $50 short? That could be a textbook, which is the difference between an F and an A.
Okay. Other thing that keeps coming up as I talk to these students, the independent students, um, how they're viewed, um, and this notion that you should choose a school based on what you can afford, or the constant question of why are you an independent student, which for some is a death. I mean, there's all kinds of things. And why does that matter? I can't imagine having been a teenager going to a whole nother state and navigating my way with no real support. I try to make some of what True Blue does is simply connection with alum and the knowledge that there are people, because it's not everybody, but there are people out there who care and will help you where they can. Because it seems like, especially with Instagram and all this, like you said, these things, not only are you imagining things, it appears that
Oh, because of the
everybody has it
flex.
together. Yeah.
Flex.
Does, again, because the question is like, are we doing enough? Are we What else can we do?
So, True Blue's responsibility and obligation is to do its best. Period. Um, you can't replace what ought to have been there. It is not your responsibility to replace my health insurance, my parents, my community, all the things I didn't know to ask for, all the things I didn't know to do, correct all the mistakes I made, help me make better choices, reconnect me to, like, that's not your job. You fill in the gaps and make the gaps smaller. You cushion the ground and make it softer. If someone is sleeping on a bench, you give them a pillow. You may not have a house to give them. A blanket and a pillow is better than just a bench. Maybe you don't have a blanket and a pillow, but you say, I'll sit here till you wake up and no one will steal your things.
Hmm. Hmm.
You do your best. I don't have money to buy you food, but you can have some of what I'm eating. We can share this lunch. I'll give you half my sandwich. And we can talk.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So poverty is a nightmare. You can't wake someone up from that. You can redeem it. And by redemption, I mean so something bad happens. Now the timeline splits. Is something worse going to happen or is something better going to happen? More times than we'd like to admit, something bad happens and then it gets worse and then it gets worse and then it gets worse and then you hit rock bottom and then you stay there for way too long and then somehow you begin to crawl up, crawl up, crawl up, crawl up till things are okay. True Blue is there to say something bad happened and then something worse happened. Before you get to the 5th, 7th, 12th, 15th worst thing, let's make something good happen. But if that bad thing hadn't happened, there would have been no reason for you to even be with True Blue. So that's the redemption. You wouldn't even have known that people were generous. You wouldn't even have known that people cared. You wouldn't even have known that a complete stranger in New York is sitting here talking to somebody in Atlanta for the sole purpose of telling you you're going to be fine because I was fine. I am fine. And it's hell, but it's going to get better. You're at the greatest school. Granted, I assume I'm talking to someone from Spelman, but I may not be. So whatever school you're going to, you're at the greatest possible school you could be at. And you know that even though it's really hellish there, you're not flunking out of a GED program. You're at FAMU for crying out loud. You're at Howard. You're at Spelman. You're at Morehouse. Are you crazy? You're not flunking out in jail. You're flunking. You're hungry at Spelman. You're not locked in a detention center hoping someone will visit you, you don't have enough financial aid to continue this semester at your great school. So you know what? Yes, you cry or you punch a wall or you do whatever you're going to do. And then there's True Blue. And someone argued for you and someone got you a scholarship and someone, and then, oh my God, I'm back. Yeah, yeah. Like, let's have perspective. And no, you're not going to drop out. You're not going to drop out. And you know why you're not going to drop out? You're not going to drop out the same reason I didn't drop out. You're not going to drop out because just think about what that means. So, fine. Now you have a high school diploma. What are you doing in 2025 with a high school diploma? Finna be 2026. They don't like you with a degree. What in the hell are you doing with a high school diploma? Absolutely nothing. So, no, you're not going to drop out. You're not going to drop out. You're going to take that C, you're going to take that B minus, you're going to take that whatever thing your perfectionistic self said, oh my God, I'm so much better than this. Yes, you are. And you know what? I will tell you, when I went to apply for graduate school, I gave them my degree. I did not give them my transcript. I said, and I was there, and, almost cursed. Lord help. I graduated with a master's degree from Union Theological Seminary at Columbia University with a dual concentration in psychology and philosophy. So I was a double major to get my master's degree. They got my degree. They did not get my transcript. Because F what you think of my grades, I graduated Columbia. So you gonna get a copy of this degree, which is what other proof could you possibly have that I have a degree than to give you my degree? Ain't that what you need? You need me to have a bachelor's degree? Well, him a degree. You're welcome. Now register. Right. So, so grades matter now. Your employer won't care about your grades unless you're going for something where your grades matter. 9 times out of 10, it doesn't. Unless you're going to graduate school, nobody cares about your grades. And if you want to go to graduate school, go to graduate school. You can go to a state school for graduate school. Nobody cares. If you need a master's degree, go get a master's degree. Yeah. So yeah, don't let's keep all this in context. These are first world problems. I'm poor in college, sweetie.
That
I'm
is
poor.
different.
I'm poor in the United States. Yeah. Okay. Kroger's? Yeah. There are people in places that are sleeping in cardboard. I know poverty. Oh my God, my floor is damp every time it rains. That means I had a floor. That means I wasn't outside in the rain. There's context to all of this. Where did I do my laundry? That meant I had clothes. So there's context to all of this. Poverty, yes, it's time consuming, it's frustrating, it's humiliating, it's painful, it ruins your health, it makes your teeth bad. Just, yes, it sucks. Throw it in the trash. You will have strength and you will have empathy. You will be able to tell the difference between what matters and what doesn't if you live this life right. You know what another good thing about poverty is? It's very hard to afford drugs and alcohol. And because you're not drunk or high, You have to regulate your emotions yourself. And everybody's getting all, oh my God, I gotta smoke weed before the test. Yeah, no, you just had to study and deal with whatever little anxiety you had. I have not been drunk a day in my life and won't. And when I was in graduate school, they were like, oh my God, Hortensia, why don't you just smoke weed? Because, it helps. And I was like, why can't you regulate your own emotions? Why aren't you able to process what you're feeling and change your thoughts and change your whatever? And they stopped speaking to me because they didn't want to deal with what it takes to self-regulate. They didn't want to hear that. But I had gone through what I had gone through already. So I know what fear is. I know what anxiety is. I know what depression is. And I am not saying don't go to a psychiatrist and get the medication that you need for neurological support. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you nervous for a test and you smoking weed so you don't have to deal with your nerves. Yeah, nah, nah. You can handle that. You can handle that. I've got PTSD, biochemical depression, and anxiety. And I ain't smoked weed yet. Because I don't want to be dependent on somebody else. Because as a person who has overcome poverty, I already know people ain't dependable, including the weed dealer. And once they know you need them, the price is going to go up. Once they know you need them, they'll giggle while you standing outside fidgeting, waiting for them. They'll be rude to you yeah, because people like power. So why don't you keep that power in? Yeah, I don't need that. You're gonna grow up and be a superhuman. You're gonna grow up and be a superhero. Look, I support True Blue. I support Spelman. I support my church. There are people who can call me and ask me for financial help, and I give it to them. And if you had told me back then that I would be able to do that now, living in Harlem, no way in the world. No way in the world. How? Started from the bottom, now I'm here. So yeah, there's more to it. Context. It ain't as it's bad, but it ain't as bad. It's bad relative to. But you're comparing yourself to the 1%, the 5%, the 15%. Baby, let me tell you something. Use rich. If you live in the United States, if you live in the United States, you are richer than 30, you are in the top 30% of global wealth. That's including the homeless, that's including the people incarcerated. Top 30% of global wealth. Get your context together. Top 30%. You got clean water, you got electricity, yeah, miss me. The people in jail are eating better than some entire, just, yeah, stop. Stop. Context. Of course it sucks. Of course you want to do better. You don't want to be the top 30%. You want to be the top 15. I get it. Me too. But context. Context. Yeah, I'm saying, oh my God, my studio apartment is so small and look and all my stuff and it's messy. Ma'am, shut up. I'm living in Sugar Hill, Harlem, in Manhattan, New York. Shut up. Oh my God, what am I going to wear? If you don't shut up, with your walk-in closet, shut up. Stop. Miss me. Oh, I think I'll just have water. In a stone goblet? Effa, bye, bye, bye. Shut up. Context.
So, what would be your final, not even final, but what would be your three or so biggest things to tell someone who is either unhoused, food insecurity, no support, whatever the case may be, that seems greater than
Yeah,
getting to that class, or all the things that make you want to say just what you did, which is I quit.
yeah. Um, don't do that to yourself. The world sucks. You don't have to suck with it. People have hurt you. You don't have to hurt yourself. Um, Quitting only hurts you, and you don't need to hurt yourself like that. And you're going to regret it. There's nothing that you could ever do in your life that would replace you finishing this degree. I don't care if you go out and become a millionaire. You would still say, damn it to hell. I should have done it. I should have stayed. The biggest FU you can give to all, you want to talk about haters? The people who are neglecting you, the people who are treating you like trash, the biggest FU you can give them is graduating. They don't see your pain. They don't they don't feel your hunger. It's really, poverty is also really private. I mean, unless you walking around like funky and, you know, acting out, nobody really knows. So enjoy your privacy. Keep your business your business. Only speak to people that are 100% trustworthy. And if you're not 100% sure, then shh, because you don't need your business all over campus. And keep pressing. Because all you have to do is graduate. The summa cum laude and the keys and the this and the that and the Rhodes Scholar and the presidential award and all of the nonsense, sweetie, they come out and they just as underemployed as you. Because at the end of the day, a bachelor's degree is just a bachelor's degree. And unless that's what you need, you probably need to go to graduate school anyway. And if you're going to graduate school, then go to hell on to graduate school. But you can't go to graduate school if you don't finish this. And you do have a community. You do have True Blue. You do have your True Blue community. For what it's worth, um, it's more than a lot of other people have. Be grateful. We black. There's a good joke waiting to happen. We're gonna laugh. We're gonna laugh. Go ahead, tell them jokes. Make them jokes. Damn, I'm broke. Make them jokes. Yeah, make them. Laugh. In the face of poverty, laugh. Your stomach is growling in class. Laugh. What the hell was that? Yeah, what was that? Whose stomach was that? Nigga, that was yours. Mine. Oh, it was. What are you gonna do? Can I have a sandwich? Like, just laugh. Please, eyes hungry. What are you gonna do? You laugh to keep from crying. It's the black way. One of the blackest things you can do. And last but not least,